Hello, everyone. Welcome to Community CPA 3 p.m. webinar. Here today, we have two brothers, Hassan and Ahmed, and they are in crypto and crypto trading, and they're also YouTubers. So we have invited them today as our guest speakers to talk about cryptocurrency. So thank you both, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So I know that cryptocurrency has been a pretty hot topic over the past few years, but I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. So generally, would you be able to tell us about yourself? What is cryptocurrency and how did you get into it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe I can go ahead and start and just do a quick correction. So I'm the one who actually does the YouTube thing, and we both trade with crypto. So again, my name is Ahmed. I'm Ahmed. So originally, actually, I graduated from pharmacy school here from the University of Iowa. And that's what I did for my education and kind of my background. And, throughout pharmacy and everything, I tried to start understanding and learning a little bit more about personal finance and ways to kind of diversify my portfolio outside of the conventional index funds, retirement accounts, that kind of thing. So started dabbling into more speculative things. And I got into the stock market trading early 2019, 2020, as soon as the market really started tanking with the coronavirus pandemic. That's when I really started getting into trading. And I realized, the stock market, it can be very lucrative if you play it correctly. So, started doing that at the very beginning, slowly transitioned out of the stock market into crypto after, some events that occur, which, I just found there was higher upside in crypto. And I really like the idea of decentralization, because one of my personal favorite search engines is Wikipedia, which is a decentralized search engine. Basically, it's a dictionary that you could use across anywhere. You could search terms, words, whatever it is that you want to do. That's kind of the first hand experience that I had with decentralization. And then I started understanding, hey, instead of having one centralized bank controlling all of our money, why don't we have a decentralized entity that works to confirm transactions, to approve and accept, that kind of thing. So again, a decentralized ledger system made a lot of sense to me. And then that's why I decided to invest kind of heavily in that space.
Awesome, thank you. Hassan, I didn't know if you wanted to chime in on crypto trading and what your experience has been so far with that.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Hassan. My story is very similar to my brother's here. I went to the university here at the University of Iowa, did my undergraduate, and I stuck around for graduate school, which is what I'm currently doing. In terms of crypto trading, I got into cryptocurrency relatively early compared to some of the people that you can talk to these days. So I got into cryptocurrency early on in 2017, before the big run up, before crypto became as mainstream, or as we talk about it as mainstream now. And back then, I wasn't very knowledgeable about what cryptocurrency was or what the blockchain was. For me, it was just a means to get into something and diversify my portfolio and something that I wasn't completely sure about, but I knew was somewhat lucrative. And, I was holding onto my cryptocurrency through the big crash in 2018, and I kind of just forgot about it and let it do its thing. And then all of a sudden in 2020, 2021, there was this big crypto resurrection, I like to call it. And a lot of people started becoming more and more interested in cryptocurrency. And at that time, I was trading stocks just like my brother here. And we were very heavily invested in penny stocks and speculative plays and making good money on doing that. But practically everybody was making money in the stock market after the whole situation with the pandemic happened. So we were getting into that, and then we started shifting gears a little bit when we started hearing about some of these cryptocurrency plays that could be even more lucrative in a shorter amount of time. And we were getting into some very speculative plays in the cryptocurrency market, which crypto to begin with is pretty speculative in and of itself. But we learned a lot. We started not only looking at cryptocurrency as an investment vehicle, but as a vehicle of currency, which is what it's supposed to be. And what we've learned over the past maybe 6 months or so is more than what we learned in the previous 5 years when it comes to cryptocurrency.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to cryptocurrency, how many types are there and what are they worth?
I mean, I could chime in here. There are probably too many crypto assets at this point because again, it's really not very difficult to make a new crypto asset. Anybody could really do it. You just go on a website, you develop some type of protocol, you create a website around it, create what they call a contract, and then boom, you now have a token. And the reason that it's become so easy is because there's two different blockchains, the Ethereum blockchain and the Binance Smart Chain. So these two make it readily accessible and easy for someone to create a brand new contract and to create a new token. So, if you asked this question a few years ago, I'd say, a few hundred, but now there's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of different crypto assets in the market that are just circulating around. So, and maybe Hassan can give his 2 cents on that.
Right. Yeah. There, like Ahmed said, there are too many cryptocurrencies these days. The gold standard for tracking cryptocurrencies is a website called CoinMarketCap, and there are more than 16,000 tokens and coins listed on CoinMarketCap. The beautiful thing about cryptocurrency is the fact that it's decentralized, but that in and of itself is kind of a gift and a curse because, like Ahmed said, anybody can go out, since it's a decentralized unit, anybody can go out and make a token or a coin, however they want to do it. And that in and of itself makes it so that there are so many tokens out there, and the tokens become very saturated very quickly. But like we say, it's decentralized. So that was what it was created for to begin with, is to make it so that anybody can go out and do this. It's kind of a double-edged sword though.
Right. So when we're thinking of like the rise in popularity of cryptocurrency, do you think it's because of that decentralization, or are there other reasons that it has become so common?
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it's easy for me to kind of chime in, but I think the real reason, the big shift that we saw in crypto was, especially here in 2021, like we're now in 22, but in 2021, there were some issues that started arising around the stock market. People were saying it's overly centralized. Hedge funds were controlling the retail investors' money. It's just, there was a lot of manipulation that people saw that was pretty overt and became kind of obvious. And so retail investors were getting sick and tired of it. So we started seeing this transition from people that were looking for, those more speculative stocks. They were like, wait a second, there's a way for me to make as much money, if not more money, in a decentralized manner, trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through a vehicle that is very similar to stock market, the capital gains taxes, that kind of thing. Again, I'm not a CPA or financial advisor, but they're all very similar. It's, again, a mirror image, but again, the access started, it's readily accessible. Or just to say the least bit, it's become more accessible over time. So now people are able to do what they were able to in the stock market, but to a bigger extent in a shorter amount of time. But again, it does come with a lot of risk, but the reward is also very, very high.
Yeah, I share similar sentiments to Ahmed here. And I think part of the reason why crypto became so popular is twofold, in my opinion. First and foremost, at its core, cryptocurrency was made in order to be able to transfer value online without the need of any type of middleman or any type of payment processor. And the crypto purists, the ones that were first investing in cryptocurrency, were in it because of that. The fact that there are no middlemans, there's no government that's controlling the cryptocurrency, there's no central authority. And that in and of itself gave people the idea of getting into crypto in order to transfer goods and services online without the need of all of that. But I think over the past couple of years or so, people not only saw it as a way to transfer monetary goods online, but as just a way to invest and diversify your portfolio. So I think the big boom that we saw over the past year or so was due to more of people trying to get into cryptocurrency as a way to diversify, rather than the fact that it is decentralized and a way of transferring goods online without that central authority.
Awesome. So thank you. We do actually have a question. So Lou asks, what is the value based on and who determines the value? So it's related to usage as currency.
Cool. I'll let Hassan answer that one first.
Yeah, that's an absolutely fantastic question. So cryptocurrency, the fact that it is decentralized and there is no governing authority, no central authority, means that it has no backing by government. It's essentially just based off of supply and demand economics. It's a very basic fundamental concept in economics, meaning that if there is a finite supply of a good or a service, let's say Bitcoin, for example, which has a very finite supply, the demand for that supply is going to continue to rise as we start distributing that supply over time. So that is practically all there is that's governing the price of these coins and tokens. And of course, through that, we see utility. So as a way to transfer goods online, goods and services without that middleman and very low processing fees relative to some of these other vehicles that we can use to transfer and process payments, that's where the utility starts coming in. And so the fact that we have this finite supply and increasing demand over time, that's where we start to see the investment potential. And then the fact that you can use it, there's utility in cryptocurrencies as a form of online payments, that's where we start to see the utility come to light. And that's why it's become, that's why I say there's the twofold reason for being in cryptocurrency: one, for the investment vehicle, and then two, to be able to actually use it and spend your currency online on goods and services.
Yeah, and Lou, just to add one other thing to your, because you said, what is the value based on and who determines the value? The thing is, these aren't stocks, right? You can't look at the price to earnings ratio. You can't look at certain metrics to tell you this is the valuation based off of these fundamentals. And that's what makes it kind of tricky, because again, in crypto, that's not there. But over time, you start to realize there are some trends that we have to follow. And that's how you could start to gauge, is this overvalued or undervalued? Is this maybe something that I need to stay away from? And honestly, it's just looking at charts for the majority of the time. You can kind of just tell that looks quite overbought or oversold. And then that's when you can make those kind of decisions.
Right. And another thing that I want to add is, and maybe this isn't so much involving Bitcoin, but some of these other tokens that we're starting to see now, is a lot of people are looking at cryptocurrency and every single individual token as a software company. And a lot of them are pushing different types of software, different types of utilities that go beyond just using them as a way of purchasing goods and services online. But now we're having a big boom in crypto gaming and the NFT space. And that's a whole nother conversation for possibly another webinar, but that space is becoming so vast right now. So whenever you're looking at some of these cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, for example, they push the technology more so than they push the token. And then the price of the token is reflected on how the technology is doing, how the software is being developed.
Hassan, you were talking earlier about the usage of it in, buying goods online. Can you elaborate a bit on that and who's using that as transactions?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So tokens right now, they're not as mainstream as we would like them to be. And that's why it's, in my opinion, obviously not financial advice, in my opinion, a good investment opportunity, because as of right now, there aren't very many people that are accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment, at least not in a large scale way. But as we start looking onto the future, we anticipate that as we start to stabilize, right now, cryptocurrency is extraordinarily volatile. And that is because it's not used in a mainstream way as a form of currency. There are very few places where you can actually use your cryptocurrency online in a practical way. They're becoming more and more prevalent as time goes on, but in the future, we anticipate that you'll be able to go to the gas station and use cryptocurrency as a form of payment, or the grocery store. And that's whenever we talk about mass crypto adoption. As of right now, there are a couple of entities that are really pushing it. The biggest one that's being talked about right now is actually AMC. So you'll be able to go down to the movie theater and purchase your movie theater tickets using cryptocurrency. And they're working on the infrastructure right now to be able to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment for those movie tickets. So the infrastructure is definitely, I don't want to say lagging behind, but there's a lot to be done.
Sure, that's helpful. Thank you. You also mentioned kind of the supply and demand part of crypto and the market. So is there a finite supply, or is there limitations to the supply? How does that work?
Yeah, I'll let Ahmed chime in on this one as well. But there is a finite supply. So whenever a crypto asset is first made, they can choose to either be a deflationary asset, an inflationary asset where you can actually make more tokens essentially, or an asset that just has a finite supply. So any token, the tokens that we're seeing a lot of these days are actually deflationary, which means that as they're being traded, as they're being swapped, they're actually burning a percentage of their token, deflationary. A token like Dogecoin, I think, is actually technically inflationary, meaning that there are more and more tokens being put into the supply over time. And then lastly, there's a token like Bitcoin where there's essentially no type of burn. There's no, you can mine Bitcoin, but that mining process isn't adding more to the absolute overall possible circulating supply. It is just trying to extract from that overall supply to make it to go from non-circulating to circulating. But there is a finite amount of Bitcoin that after all of it is mined will be in circulation. So that's what we mean whenever we talk about deflationary and inflationary assets, or an asset like Bitcoin that is neither, but there is a finite supply. So a lot of these popular tokens these days either have a finite supply or are deflationary.
Thank you. Ahmed, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything to that before we go to the next question.
No, I think he definitely covered that really well. So that's two things with crypto right now is really the use case and the store of value over time. Because there's, hedge funds, there are institutional investors that are a lot bigger than you and I, who have a lot more money to spend, that are buying Bitcoin and Ethereum as part of their portfolios because they're realizing, A, it's a hedge against inflation, right? Because the inflation rates in the US, if you looked at the 2021 reports in December, 6.8%. Your dollar bills that you get from your job or whatever are losing value over time. That's the general trend. But there are some assets, and people think that Bitcoin one day will surpass gold's store of value. So, a multi-trillion-dollar facet, that's why they say Bitcoin right now, yes, it's at $45,000 per token. But if you look at it from a perspective that one day it can surpass gold's store of gold's value, gold as, a full commodity, it could be $500,000 per token. It could be $1 million per single Bitcoin based off of those trajectories. But again, there's a few different models, something called the stock to flow model. It gets super complex, but that's ultimately what it is.
Thank you so much. So, of course, people are wondering, how do you get started? If somebody has little or no experience with crypto, how do they find out more about trading in cryptocurrency?
I think, honestly, the easiest way is everybody has a cell phone. I think everybody that's here on the Zoom call probably has a cell phone. And there's applications like Coinbase and YouTube. That's why I make videos on YouTube myself. Is all I do is I talk about crypto assets. If you go on my channel, your pop, I don't mean to do a shameless plug, but you can go on there and you can see all things related to crypto. And, for me, I specifically talk about more speculative tokens. But if you just go on youtube.com, what is cryptocurrency? Go on Google, go on Coinbase. So Coinbase is a publicly traded company in the United States. They have educational panels and videos on crypto, and they'll pay you money, not you pay them, but they'll pay you to learn about cryptocurrency. So there's a lot of fantastic things out there that you could learn and get started with. And again, I don't know if Catherine will have our, my name or something, my YouTube channel, but if you guys have questions, just leave them in the comment section and I'll try to get back to you at some point.
Wonderful. Hassan, do you have any thoughts as well?
Yeah, sure. So I want to preface this by saying that cryptocurrency, like we reiterated so many different times during this webinar, is extraordinarily volatile. And that is why some people are pushed out of the cryptocurrency market a little bit. But in my opinion, knowledge is always going to be key, and knowledge is always going to be power. So first and foremost, before you invest in a stock, for example, you educate yourself on that stock, their earnings, who's on the development team, who's on their team, stuff like that. With cryptocurrency, it works the exact same way. So you want to educate yourself first and foremost on the technology. What is cryptocurrency? What is the blockchain? What is this ledger system? What is decentralization, et cetera, et cetera. And then after you have an overall knowledge of what cryptocurrency is, if you're interested in the technology and you think it's going to have a future in our financial system, the next step after that will be to look at individual tokens, not only on the basis of an investment, but also what they're doing, what the development team is doing, what they're doing in terms of the software, why this could have an impact, why that cryptocurrency is different than the other 16,000 that are listed on CoinMarketCap. And so knowledge becomes key in that sense. You want to really educate yourself before you really jump into any type of investment.
Perfect. Thank you. If anybody else has questions, please feel free to either put it in the chat or in the Q&A box. We do have a couple of minutes, but if there are no other questions, what questions do you often get from those who are new or starting out with crypto?
I think
Any
one of
other
the
advice that people should be asking?
Right. I think a lot of people, there was that question in the chat of how to get started. I think a lot of people ask when to get started as well. And when is a good time to buy X, Y, or Z token or coin or something like that. And to be quite honest, there's never a good answer to any of those types of questions of when to buy, because like we've reiterated, cryptocurrency can be extraordinarily volatile. And there's never, whenever you're looking at the stock market, historic stock market, for example, if we take Apple stock, for example, and we go back 10 years and you look at maybe like a 1 month chart of Apple 10 years ago, there would probably be good arguments of people saying, hey, you should wait to invest. And there are probably others that say, hey, you need to invest right now. Because back then that 1 month chart looked extremely volatile, and cryptocurrency works the same way. So first and foremost, you should educate yourself and make sure that you're investing for the right reasons. And there's always, like I said, this is by no means financial advice, but there's always the golden rule of don't invest what you're not willing to lose. And that's how I always invest, because you don't want to invest emotionally. But in terms of when, I think there's never an absolute fantastic time to get into the cryptocurrency market. But if the trajectories are going to play out the way that we think they're going to play out, and we're continuing to see the struggles of centralized banking, I think cryptocurrency is a great investment, and I think it's a great way to diversify your portfolio and be able to kind of invest in the future of currency. Because a long time ago, we had bartering, and then we had gold, and then we had cash, and then we had the credit card and the digital system. And now we have cryptocurrency. So I think it's extremely early, and those that are going to be the most successful investing in cryptocurrency are those that are able to weather the storm a little bit and be patient.
Absolutely. And, what I'll add to that, because, Hassan brought up I think he summed it up really well. But again, always remember that saying, time in the market will always beat timing the market. So that line right there, for anything, how much time you leave your assets in, it will always beat you trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to wait for it to go down, or no, all right, no, it's going to take too much of your time. It's going to be too technical. And you can, if you were an active day trader, yes, technical analysis is fantastic, but otherwise, set it and forget it. If you're someone that is looking to get in, just set it and forget it. In 5-10 years, hopefully you'll be very happy.
Thank you so much, guys. So if somebody wants to reach out to you to have further conversations on this, what is the best way for them to contact you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the easiest way to contact me would be my email. It's the Your Pop Business email, which I can give to Catherine and she could share with you all. But that's really the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Yep, and mine will be my personal email, which I can also give to Catherine, and she can send that out to everybody.
Wonderful. I will connect you to our attendees today. I wanted to thank you for your time here. It was great to learn a bit more about cryptocurrency and how and when we can start. So thank you.
Fantastic.
We will have you on hopefully in the future. So
absolutely.
And we look forward to working with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Bye, everyone.